Hi, my name's Chris Walker. I was born in Perth, Western Australia, and I'm a Sandgroper. Born and bred in Perth, Western Australia. Always lived north of the river. There's that big divide, north versus south. I'm a north of the river boy, so we always say it's better up there and the beaches are better, and so, you know, that was where I grew up, around that area. So most difficult life event for me so far was 2 years ago. I was diagnosed with stage 3 testicular cancer. So I'm wearing a shirt today, you'll see. This is brought about by one of my very clever friends, and my cousin put these together. So boobs and balls, check your bits. So that happened, it was 2 years ago. I was actually wrestling, my two boys are here, they're in the back over there. Wrestling with my boys, like you do. It was at school holidays. One of them I was on the ground with, the other one decided to jump up on the couch and jump down and suplex me or something, and just happened to get me in the left testy, which, as you can understand, is excruciating. And the pain just didn't go away. It stayed there for a day or two. I said to my wife, I think it was the next day, something just didn't feel right. I was quite sore. She was a bit worried, said maybe you need to get it checked, you know, being a guy, like, we'll see. The pain kind of disappeared. So I was like, okay, that's good. And then a day or so later, it came back and I started to get really bad lower abdomen pain. So it was quite quick, actually, and how it all happened. So my wife said, you know, you need to go see somebody. So I went to a doctor. Just happened that I walked in and they said it's like a 2-hour wait. I said, I'm not waiting. So I walked out, to which I called my wife, and she said, no, you need to see somebody. Happened to just call Ocean Reef, just near us, Dr. Wayjet King, shout out to him, saved my life, along with my two boys. She said, I can get you in, you're in half an hour. I said, great. So I went there, saw him on a Wednesday afternoon. He had a check and said everything feels okay. He was worried about my lower abdomen. He said something didn't feel right and thought maybe the boys might have, punctured the liver or kidney or done some damage there. And he said, all right, I need to do some blood tests. So I did those straight away. And he said, you need to go for a scan straight away. So booked me in the next day for a scan. I had a scan in the morning on the Thursday. I got a phone call within 2 hours from the doctor. Said your lymph nodes are enlarged. After your conversation and saying that you had some pain in the left testy, you need to go get an ultrasound straight away. We were out that day with friends, so I was unable to go. And so he booked me in for the Friday morning. So I had an ultrasound on the Friday morning, to which, again, within 2 hours, I had a phone call from my doctor again to say they've found a mass in your left testy. You need to see a urologist. It's quite urgent. With that, you know, I've contacting urologists. He mentioned Dr. Tom Shannon, so I called Tom to see if I can get in. They told me, you know, it's about a 2 to 3 month wait list to get in to see Tom Shannon. I said, okay, and my doctor just said that I needed to call. I'm not too sure. This was about 12 o'clock on a Friday. The lady said, look, once you get the referrals, you know, call through and we'll see what we can do. So I said, okay, not a problem. Dr. Kang's pretty good. I asked what time they finished up. She said about 4, I think it was. I said, that's fine. I got an email at about 3:59 from Dr. Kang with all the details and the results and all of that. So, and the referral, all the referral. So it was about 4:02, and I thought, I'll give Tom Shannon's office a call again. Maybe they might answer, and the lady answered. So I was lucky she answered. I said, hey, going, it's Chris Walker here. I'd called up before. She said, yep, as I said, you know, it's a bit of a wait. Oh, hang on, I can see your information here. It's come through in an email, to which there was silence. And she responded with, after about, it felt to me about 10 minutes, it was probably about 30 seconds, someone will contact you Monday morning. I'm like, okay, that's quite, you know, I think it's quite serious, but didn't think anything of it. We just went over the weekend. Monday arrived. I just started a new job. So as a principal at Eddystone Primary School. This was my second term, just starting, new position, new school. Rocked up on Monday, first day, and just didn't say anything to anybody. Went in on the Monday, and I got a phone call about 9 o'clock from Tom Shannon's office saying, we're able to get you in. Tom will see you next Monday. So we'd organised it all, booked it in. I said, great. Just didn't think anything of it then. And I just called my wife, and I just had this gut feeling to call Dr. King, just to call him. So I was like, okay. So I called him. And he said, no, you need to see someone straight away. I put through referrals to other people. So he was amazing and quite thorough. And so he said there's Perth Urology, there's this, and okay, not a problem. So I just thought I'd call Perth Urology, called them up. Same thing, the lady said, look, there's a bit of a wait list. She said, look, hang on, I can see your email from your doctor. Bit of silence again. She said, someone will call you back within the next half an hour. I'm like, okay then. So obviously there must have been something, well, we know it was now. So to which I think 10, 15 minutes, I got a phone call back from the lady saying, one of our urologists is in surgery all day today and tomorrow, but he said he'll meet you at 6:30 in his office after surgery on Tuesday. I'm like, okay, but he's going to need you to do this test and go get some bloods and do all these different checks and tests. Said, okay, not a problem. So at which point I kind of called my office ladies in, my MCS, and I called my APs in, my 2 associate principals, and I said, look, this is kind of what's happened just in the last 5 days. I need to do some tests. I should be okay. I'll be back in tomorrow, but I have to leave early today. I got to go at 12 and I need to go. So we went off. I forgot to call Tom Shannon and cancel. So I did all these tests. That was fine. Just thinking that I was going in Tuesday night to go and see the urologist. We just put the kids down. So at this point, my wife was also heavily pregnant with our third, and was due at any point, basically. So it just makes things a little bit worse there. So it's quite a difficult time of our life. To which, put the kids down, we just finished dinner, and about 7:30 my phone rings. I answer the phone. Hello, Chris speaking, and I hear this, hi Chris, how you going? It's Tom Shannon here. Oh, hi Tom, how you going? He said, look, your doctor's been amazing. I'm not gonna beat around the bush. I'm gonna get straight to the point. I've had a look at all your scans, your results. Your doctor's done everything possible. I believe it's cancer. We need to have surgery. We need to remove that left testis straight away. I was, okay. That was the first kind of real, that's quite serious now. So that was a shock. So we kind of had a conversation and talked through that. And he talked through the surgery and the process and what all that happened. I explained that, I'd booked in to see someone on Tuesday, and, he was fantastic. He said, look, there's some great people there. If you're happy to do that, that's fine. He said, my recommendation is that I want to book you in and get surgery done Wednesday. I can get you in. He said, but if you feel you want to go with them, that's not a problem. I've been asking them when you can do the surgery, when they can get you in. And I just said, look, no, my doctor recommended you. You were the name that he gave me. So let's do it. To which he said, he taught me through the surgery and the process, and the reason being that with testicular cancer, they need to go in and remove the whole testy and pull it out. They can't just take a little bit and test it, because it's known that it's a hormonal type cancer and it'll spread worse. So they can't do like a biopsy. They have to remove the whole testy, and then they need to take it away, and they do tests to prove that it's actually cancer or what it is. So yeah, Tuesday morning I went into work, to which I got a phone call about 8:30. I had all the paperwork, everything sent through to me, was booked in for surgery first thing Wednesday morning. It was called a radical orchidectomy, to which I thought radical, yes, because you're getting your left testy removed, but actually the orchidectomy is the name, the radical is because it's emergency surgery. Oh. Yeah, I just thought, because it's quite radical, that it's a very radical surgery, but no, radical just was meant, that was explained to me that it means emergency, because I just thought it was a radical thing to do. So yeah, to which then I had to then bring in my associate principals, bring in my MCS, and go through and explain to them that I'm having surgery. I potentially could have cancer, and let's plan out the rest of the year, because we don't know if I'm coming back or what it's going to look like. So I had surgery on the Wednesday, and yeah, the Friday, so it was quite full on, and it was the Friday after that. We got the results confirmed, stage 3 testicular cancer. It spread to my lymph nodes. So for my type of cancer, so generally with testicular cancer, similar sometimes to breast cancers, they're a hormonal gene cancer type cancer. So basically there's two types of cancers. So for me, one was like he explained it as it's a garden variety type cancer. The other one, however, was embryonal carcinoma, which is a highly aggressive cancer. So embryonal comes from the word embryo, so it can grow as fast as a baby, basically. Hence why within a couple of months it spread already to my lymph nodes. And so yeah, met basically on that Friday. Phone call. Tom called Simon Troon, an oncologist, and basically they had a conversation, and Monday I met Simon, and then we started planning my chemo and what that looks like, and it was an aggressive chemo, which really it took me out. It near on killed me towards the end. It was very aggressive, but if it wasn't for my wife and her strength and holding us together and our family, and it's the family you choose, which is our friends, they are our family, we wouldn't have got through. It really does show you who your friends are and who your family are and how much you rely on them. I mean, they were unbelievable throughout the whole process. So after my surgery, I was back at work for about a week or so, just to plan, get everything sorted. And then, as I said, Laura was heavily pregnant, so she was induced, so that I could be there for the birth. So we had her induced, and we had a beautiful baby girl, little Ella. So I was lucky, that I was there. And our obstetrician, she's amazing. She said she knew obviously what I was going through, that I was about to start my chemo so we had Ella on the Tuesday night. I started my chemo on the Monday. So Laura had a brand new baby, 2 boys under the age of 4, and a husband going through chemo that she had to look after. But Althea, our obstetrician, she's amazing, and she made me don the gloves, and I delivered our baby girl, which we didn't know. It's a surprise. It's always been a surprise. So we found out at the birth. So that was quite amazing and quite a special moment there, and made a little promise to my baby girl that day that she probably doesn't know because she's only 2 now, but she still doesn't know. But my wife and her and I know that I made her a promise one day that I'll be around for her. So but that's probably the difficult moment, and the months that led up after that, most difficult thing in our life. So everything I kind of do now and I talk about, and I was happy to come on here and talk today, and it's promoting a message, and it's check your bits. Basically, check your bits. Don't be too proud, don't be too brave. Go and get them checked. I've had all of our friends and family now, they religiously go and get checked. You can hit anybody. This came out of the blue. Literally a couple of months before it, I just swam to Roto solo. 2 months before that, I'd finished an ultra marathon 80k race. I was the fittest I'd been, and then this just came out of nowhere, and just hit us. It's still, I'm almost 2 years now. So I think in a couple of weeks is my 2-year mark in remission. So it's fantastic. So I still do every 3 months checkups, so scans and bloods, and obviously I think it's for about 5 years before they say that I'm in the clear and I'm cured. So they don't talk about the pain and the suffering and what your family have to go through. There's a lot of the unwritten things there. So, they know. So the drugs or the chemicals, the poison that's going through my body. We had a brand new baby. When I came home every day from treatment, so I was doing 5 days in a row, 6-7 hours a day. I'd come home, we'd have to strip my clothes off. We'd have to wash those separately to everything else. I'd have to have a shower, and I could hold Ella, but I couldn't kiss her, because of the chemicals and you can, through your saliva, through your sweat, through bodily fluids. So, when I'd sweat and have fevers and all of that, vomiting, you name it, went through it. Loss of hair and all that. The boys shaved all my head. So they did that, which was pretty cool. The family came around and we all did that. But it's the things they don't tell you. So when we had a brand new baby that was born, I started chemo on the Monday. I couldn't kiss my baby girl for about 14 days because I had the 5 days in a row, and they say you got to wait that 48, 72 hours before it's kind of okay, especially with a newborn. But I would do 5 days, have 2 days off, and have to go back again Monday. Wow. And then I got the rest of that week off. So by the Thursday, I could have a couple of days of kissing my baby girl, you know, the boys, very difficult for the boys as well. You know, we share drink bottles. That was very hard, you know, having to say, you just can't drink out of my drink bottles, you know. And then I'd have it for the weekend and then treatment again on Monday. So I couldn't do anything again until the Thursday, and then I'd get a few days and then back to my 5-day stint. So I'd have to wait until, you know, and these are just things that you don't know, they don't tell you, you know, having to clean down our sheets, having to clean the bathrooms down, the toilets, the kids just not being able to come in there, and we're in cannulas and having to take them out, pin cushion. Yeah. So it was very difficult. But yeah, as I said, it wasn't for my wife, it was absolutely amazing through the whole thing and held it together for us and for the kids and our friends and family. You can't prepare for it. Everyone knows, you know, you lose your hair, you get sick. But there's a lot of things that people don't realise as well. Pino Clean or whatever it is, that spray. I still have PTSD with that stuff. Some of the detergent that my mother-in-law was using and that my wife was using as some cleaning products, we had to get rid of because it just triggered that smell, because when you go to the hospital for the treatment, like, everything's so clean because it needs to be, and because you're just getting liquids pumped into you, you need to go to the toilet all the time. So you're going into the toilets all the time and you can just smell those cleaning products and that, like the Glen 20. I banned Glen 20 from our house. I still to this day, even at my work, when late I was spraying it, you know, during COVID, and I'm like, no, we're gonna get something else. Just, I can't have Glen 20. It just triggers that smell of being in the hospital, having that treatment and having to go to those toilets that would just scrub down constantly because obviously everybody having the treatment. But yeah, just little things like that. Cancer doesn't discriminate. Right, so it'll get whoever it wants. I mean, you know, so I think them seeing me go through that, and, you know, friends and family seeing what I looked like I wasn't me. You know, you basically just lose everything and you're just very unwell. I caught a glimpse one time. You see those, you know, you go to a hospital, you've seen people in hospital or grandparents or someone. It's not nice, you know, and you do see some of those older people. You see people quite unwell and they're being pushed around in their wheelchairs, you know, and you look and you go, wow, they really look unwell. That was me. I was that person. I caught that glimpse. It was about the second time I got it. When I went in for treatment one day and they didn't let me leave because I was so unwell, and they're wheeling me into my room and I caught the mirror. I was that person. So I think friends seeing that, and I'm very happy to, you know, I have conversations with people, they talk about, I'll do it later. I'll show photos. I was very open about it. We put it onto, you know, social media. I'm not a big poster, but throughout that we posted everything and I talked about it because people need to see that, you know, this is what happens. You know, this is the impact on your family, on your kids, on your friends, you know, what they go through. It's very simple, go get checked. I've offered many, I said, I'll check for you. Yeah. I recommend a doctor, 100%. But I think that, you know, and yeah, in my position at work as well, you know, being principal, I promote that through my community, know my story. I was very open about that and I still talk about that. You know, we did the world's greatest shave again this year. I do Movember, you know, all those things just to promote and talk about it. So very open, and it's about that early detection. Super important. With my sense of belonging, what I do with my role at work, I've always wanted to, you know, I've always just wanted to help kids. You know, do the best I can for kids, whether that was, you know, originally I wanted to be a phys ed teacher. You know, I think everyone did. That or play for the Eagles. That one didn't work out. So, you know, I've always just wanted to try and help kids, get the best out of kids, and support them and push them. And I think that hasn't changed too much. I still strongly believe that. I think more so my role now as I'm getting older, it's also now, yes, I want the best for the kids, but we need the parents also supporting them and helping them, because sometimes, you know, you don't know what you don't know. So I need to talk to them and support them, and how can we help you to help your son or your daughter, and just being a bit more understanding of, you don't know everyone's story. You don't know what they've gone through, what they've been or what they've seen, and everyone's different. You know, and for me, no child is born naughty. No child is born bad. They're not bad. They're a product of their environment. It's what they have around them, and I think a lot of what I like to create, and I think that I do that at my schools that I've been at, is that culture, and that school is a safe place. It's a happy place. And I tell the kids my number one job is to make sure that they're happy and they're safe. Because if they're not happy and they're not safe, they're not going to learn, which means the teachers can't do their job, which is teaching them. So I think that's, I talk a lot about that, and about, understanding, and trying to see things from a different light. Whether I agree with you or not, I will always talk about both sides, because, you don't know what you don't know. So I try and pass that on as much, and creating that safe place, that safe environment for kids. It's so important, and working with families, a big thing I talk about is it's a partnership. We're not here to judge you. We're here to say, little Tommy here, we want the best for him, and we're only going to get that if we work together. We need to be having the same language, the same conversations, because we want what's best for him. It's been not that I didn't do it before, but obviously family first, and it should always be that way. And I've got a fantastic family myself, so I'm very lucky, very fortunate. But more so, you get home from work and you're tired, the kids saying, Dad, let's go do this or let's go do that, and let me sit down for 10 or 15 and then get up and I'll go do that. I'm kind of more so now, let's go. I won't sit down for 10, 15 because you can't get that time back, You don't know what might happen. I probably went more so on the other side where I'm constantly saying to them, hey, let's go for a bike ride, let's go down the beach, let's go for a surf, want to go for a swim, let's go do this, let's go do it. You hear a lot of, nobody wishes they had less time with their kids, when they get older, or when you're on that deathbed, you wish that, I wish I had spent more time, So for me, I'm not at work on the holidays or late or as much as what I was. I kind of pulled that bit. Yes, I still do that. I still do bits, but I make sure that, when I'm home now, it's home, and I wait till they're down before I have a look at some of the emails, or try my best to not look at my phone when I'm with the kids and looking at my emails during the holidays or on the weekend, and trying to be mindful of that. And for my boys as well, and for any kids out there really, I think just enjoy life, have fun, but, have a go, take that chance, There's, I love my sport and that as well, and there's a saying there, I'm pretty sure it was like Michael Jordan or someone that said something around, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, right? So, have a go. Don't be afraid to fail. Right, if it doesn't mean that, you're a loser or you're last, failure is just another step towards success. You learn from that and what you can do differently. So I think definitely just having a go, but enjoy life. It's not about trying to work hard and make money. I think we've got that around the wrong way. We work so hard now while our kids are so little, so young, to get some money and set up, but then we miss that time with them. So you've got to find that balance. For my, so for my boys, it's, have a go, encouraging that, always try. Don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid. That's just the step to success. That's, you just learn from that and move on. What can you do better next time? Or what would you change? Well, I tell my younger self, who wins the next lot of 10 Brownlows, grand finals, horse races, but no. I think just the same as well, don't be afraid to have a go. Try different things. I had plenty of opportunities in my life growing up. I was very, very lucky and very fortunate. But, I look back now and I go, how do I wish I was offered, do you want to play guitar or music, learn an instrument? And I said, no, I don't want to do that. I should have, do it. Take it on. Try something. Try different things, and don't have those regrets. But apart from that, just enjoy life. And it's over too quickly, and that's one thing we can never get back is time. And once it's gone, that's it.